This is Articulating,
an independent school podcast. Whew. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Season 5 of Articulating, an independent school podcast. Gina Parker Collins. This is the first time we've recorded in 2 months, I think. How are you?
Hey, Sam. Yeah, I believe it's been about 2 months and a lot has happened in those 2 months. I'm exhausted, to be honest, but I'm also hopeful. How are you holding up?
I'm okay. I'm hopeful too, Gina. Listeners, I hope you're all good. But this is kind of weird. I feel like we're recording in another realm now. But Gina and I had a long conversation last week. And we had a really tough conversation, and we're ready to get back to recording.
Yeah, we realized we couldn't keep putting off recording. I mean, we just had to rip the Band-Aid off.
We couldn't be prouder of how much this podcast has grown. It's been 5 seasons of insightful conversations with some of the greatest voices in education, literature, psychology, and beyond.
Yeah, when we started on day one, we had the intention and the vision of producing a podcast that would explore equity in independent schools, and not just through the lens of students, but also educators, administrators, and of course, alumni.
So it is with heavy hearts that we have to share an update with you all. Wow, my hands are shaking.
Girl, you got this.
I don't know why I'm dragging my feet. It's good news. It's great news, actually. It was a difficult decision, but we have decided to roll back our focus on DEI.
Yes, we are deprioritizing diversity, equity, and inclusion.
If you were a day one listener, thank you for staying with us all these years. Articulating was launched at the height of Black Lives Matter. Our first episode was recorded on January 6th. And that was just a coincidence, but I also see some parallels now, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it wasn't long ago that everyone was posting black squares. Bookstores were sold out of Ibram X. Kendi's How to Be Anti-Racist.
Which
And
was such a great book. Oh my goodness. And it changed my life.
really, what was your favorite part?
I don't know. I didn't read it.
And let's not forget the fervor, the groundswell that was Between the World and Me by Tana. Tana.
And
Tana?
don't forget all the pledges every company made.
I was truly blown away, Sam, by the dollars that were pledged, and even more blown away by how few of those pledges were actually fulfilled. American capitalism never ceases to amaze.
Well, like those corporations, we believe that Black Lives Matter. And wealth matters more.
Listeners, I know you're probably wondering why we are even announcing the rollback. We could just quietly wind down our DEI focus, do nothing at all. Or we could pay lip service as if we do a lot, but have entirely different policies behind the scenes. It's almost like you're not even the audience for this announcement, but we do it for the faceless shareholders that pull our puppet strings.
But that's not it. That's not it at all.
We can't get into details, but we may or may not have been acquired by a certain uber wealthy man with daddy issues who behaves erratically and has no business being in politics.
And it might not be who you think it is. Somehow, there are at least 2 people who fit that description.
Listen, we know some of you may be disappointed. After all, post BLM initiatives were going so well at independent schools. All of those high profile resignations, overworked and under resourced DEI heads, and those were the folks getting compensated. We won't even get into the unpaid labor.
Or when all my ally friends kept calling me and saying, "Oh my goodness, I had no idea. I had no idea."
Yeah, that was kind of weird. All those cash apps.
Cash apps? Your friends gave you money?
No, but they should have. There are also a lot of wins for independent schools: complete redesigns of outdated curricula, BIPOC students using national platforms to air their grievances, schools finally listening, the student led formation of organizations like the Black Student
The
Coalition.
point is, investing in DEI post 2020 was not an instant success. It faced a lot of opposition. There was only one solution that made sense: pull the plug and dismantle all progress ever made.
Right, we are collectively throwing out the baby with the bathwater, and that baby is probably black.
Right. I forgot to ask you earlier, Gina, when we say we're rolling back DEI, we're just talking about race and ethnicity, right?
Mm,
So the widespread deprioritization of DEI is about targeting black and brown people, stripping them of any chance at social and financial mobility.
that feels right. Hold on, I'm looking up the notes. I'm looking them up right now.
And and so doing so in a manner that's meant to be subversive, but we're actually witnessing in plain sight our civil rights being taken away.
Yep, correct. I'm pulling up my notes now. Um, the focus today, though, is on certain races and ethnicities, immigrants, but only certain kinds, transgender people. And then we'll tackle other races later this season. Oh, and be on the lookout for season 6 when we come for religions, abilities, and class. It's a whole arc. It's going to make sense. I promise. Like and subscribe.
Yes, like and subscribe. Tell a friend. We're finally focusing on what matters: a world without diversity.
Sign me up.
Because what is the opposite of diversity? Don't answer that. And what is the opposite of equity? Do not answer that. And what is the opposite of inclusion? Love.
Preach.
Gina, what episodes do we have coming up?
Well, we'll be talking about legacies, which is affirmative action for rich people.
No Supreme Court case about that.
Ooh, we will also be talking about faculty diversity.
No, no, that can't be right.
Oh, that's my bad. We'll be talking about how schools can reduce faculty diversity.
Ah, yes, much better.
And just in time for Black History Month, or as I will now call it, Bland History Month,
Period.
we will be talking about freedom of speech, very important.
Super important, because when parents say their student doesn't feel comfortable expressing themselves in a woke world, that's code for what? Timmy can't say
Can't say
racist
racist
things.
things.
Yes. Well, guess what, Timmy? You can say all the racist things you want now because there's a new sheriff in town.
Yeah, Timmy. And guess what? Guess what? You just won Articulating's Freedom of Speech Award. Congratulations.
Congratulations. Oh my goodness, Timmy. That's the inaugural award. You deserve that and the world. You can add that to your college application. And you can also use that to validate your parking on the way out. Wow. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, there will be no silencing here on Articulating. Okay? I refuse to be silenced.
What was that you said, Gina?
I refuse to be silenced.
One more time for the back.
I refuse to be silenced.
That's right. Dr. Martin Luther King said you have to judge people by the content of their character and not the color of their skin. That might feel like I took that speech out of context, but I have found it's always good to throw in an MLK quote. It's like an anti racist garnish.
Well, as Dr. Martin Luther the King also said, for a great low rate, you can get online, go to the general, and save some time.
Oh, yes. Yes, he did say that. His words still echo today, Gina. Thank you for that. Let's hold space for that.
So, yes, that's what we wanted to share. Thank you all so much for listening.
Yes, 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 yes. And before we let you go, actually, I did have one more update, Gina. In light of your role, Gina, as head of RISE Resources in Independent School Education, it is with a heavy heart that we have decided to fire you.
Fire me? Who's we? It's just the two of us.
We felt your services as a DEI practitioner would no longer be needed in this new era.
You don't need me at all? I mean, that's insane. That is a lawsuit waiting to happen.
Multiple lawsuits, Gina, multiple. And associating with you right now puts me at great risk. So please just exit gracefully.
You're at risk associating with me?
Gina Parker Collins, everyone. Thank you, Gina. Please like and subscribe before you leave.
And scene. Thank you for bearing with us, everyone.
Truly, thank you.
This was a parody, if it wasn't immediately obvious. Articulating is not rolling back our DEI efforts, but we are rolling forward.
Yes, and the path forward will be scary. On the same day we're recording this, ICE raids are being conducted in public schools. The atrocities we're witnessing today will impact generations to come. But we must continue to fight. We're going to fight for you. We're going to fight for your families because we know this matters.
Yeah, it is really important that we acknowledge the privilege that we have as independent podcasters to parody this very serious issue. And, especially at a time when DEI practitioners across the country are staring down the barrel of unemployment after years of navigating internal and external resistance.
All to uphold the truths that we know to be self evident, that all people are created equal. Please be on the lookout for new episodes and programming. We have amazing guests joining us to discuss topics like equity in AI, financial literacy for kids, and the future of DEI. We're also developing a book club for families, which launches right after spring break. Gina, what can the Rise Network look forward to?
Yeah, we are opening registration for the fourth annual Brown Butter Collective. We're still supporting recruitment and enrollment of prospective and enrolled families to better navigate and negotiate independent school culture and leverage it as well, and planning for Rise Martha's Vineyard.
Special thanks to our friend Tyler Wood, shout out, for supporting us with this episode script. And thank you all for 5 beautiful seasons of being on the right side of history.
As Dr. Martin Luther the King Jr. actually said, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. See you in 2 weeks.